everyone. So you're about to watch my video on the book Yesterday I Cried. But it's really fitting because I just cried. I cried for the first time in a really long time, and it was good. I needed to cry. I needed to express how sad I feel, you know, because we all get a little sad sometimes, and it's okay to cry, to let it out, to release, to find some real ease in the aftermath. So yeah, it's actually true. Yesterday I did cry. But this video was filmed before I cried, so I mentioned that I haven't cried. But I did cry. I cried a little bit. It wasn't like a big cry. I'm not much of a crier, except for when I am. But yeah, enjoy the video. It's true. Yesterday, I cried. I read another book. Thank you so much. Yes, I read another book. The book was Yesterday I Cried. And I actually read this book quite a while ago. I think I finished it, oh gosh, I don't even know. Over a month ago at this point. Maybe even over 2 months ago. And I really haven't read anything much else since. And it's kind of upsetting. But we're going to change that going forward. But anyways, yes, I read a book. So I have been reading, obviously, from, I don't know if I have it here, Great Words from Wise Women. If you've been following my Wednesday Words of Wisdom videos, and if you have, you noticed that I didn't upload one this past week. And I think I'm going to be taking a break. Miguel, take a break. Because, I don't know, I kind of want to take a break from YouTube video making in general, which is funny to say as I'm filming a YouTube video. Because I feel like it's not really making me happy, and I'm not really getting anything out of it. So I might take a little break. But anyways, this might be the last video for a while. I don't know. I don't really know. I never know, because I might post a video tomorrow and be like, hey guys, I'm back. But anyways, let's talk about this book, because this book was really good. I had a really good time reading this. So it's called Yesterday I Cried, Celebrating the Lessons of Living and Loving. And it's a book about learning through life experiences. Learning through pain, learning how to deal with pain, learning about how to get out of cycles, and a lot of things, dealing with love, dealing with trauma, dealing with pain, dealing with all of the things that life throws at us, and finding ways to get through it. And it was really powerful. I really loved this book. I would give it a 10 out of 10. I highly recommend. And now let's get into some of the quotes that stood out to me and some of my thoughts regarding them. So the quote I want to start with today is from page 21. And it says, "Life will propel you." Am I recording? I always get stressed out. Okay, so sorry. Quote number 1 from page 21. It says, "Life will propel you into situations where things that once worked will no longer work." Yes. And that is the beauty of life, right? Life is about changing and growing and adapting and finding ways to adapt, adjust our lives to the ever-changing world around us. And we can't just keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Hashtag insanity. You know, we have to, it's inevitable. Life is going to present us with things that we probably don't have the tools for or the experience dealing with. And that's to help us grow, to help us learn new things. So it's necessary. Life is going to be hard. Life is going to throw things at us. But that's just what life is. Can you hear the rain? I love the rain. Okay, the next quote I have is from page 25, I believe. And since the book is called Yesterday I Cried, it talks a lot about, especially in the beginning of the books, it talks a lot about books. The beginning of the book, it talks a lot about tears. Most tears come from our inability to tell our stories. And I wrote that this starts as soon as we are born. You know, as babies, we don't know how to express our needs, our stories, in a way that is understandable to those around us. And I think that we carry this pain with us, you know, as we grow older. Even when we know how to speak, sometimes it's hard to translate how we're feeling into words, you know, or what exactly we're experiencing into words. Words can be restricting, they can be limiting. You know, the very purpose of a word is to define something. It's to associate this phrase or this, you know, sound with a certain thing. Like, this is an apple. I mean, there's nothing here, but if there was an apple here, it would be an apple, you know? And sometimes our experiences cannot be whittled down into words. And sometimes we just have to cry. And I don't know that I cried reading this book. I don't cry very often. I did shed a tear watching a TV show. It was like a reality cooking show with celebrities. It was called Super Chef Celebrity. If you know, you know. And there was this singer. She was like what's called a trovadora, which is, it's like a type of singing that is like almost like improv. It's spontaneous, like you make up a song on the spot, or you sort of, maybe not always on the spot, but it's sort of like made up songs, and you just tell stories, and you just, sometimes it's silly, you know, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's sad, you know. And she sang a song, Saying Goodbye, and when I first made this video, I think I inserted the clip. I don't know that I'll do that now.
Antes de dar la partida, agradezco de verdad. Antes de dar la partida, agradezco de verdad por esta oportunidad. Para mi hoja de vida de aquí marcho entristecida, porque partir no me agrada, pero no puedo hacer nada. Yo creo que hasta aquí llegué y ahora me desveltraré, porque hoy soy la chicharrada.
¡Qué victoria!
Bien. Bravo.
But she made a song saying goodbye, and it was really beautiful, and it was really sad. So I think I shed a tear, but I haven't really cried. And I think I need to cry, so maybe I'll cry by the end of this video. Who knows? Moving on, page 26. This is a good one. Each tear was a prayer that tomorrow will be better than today. And I just thought that was a beautiful reframing of sadness, of tears, of anguish. Instead of seeing it as, you know, mourning current pain or past pain, we can see it as a prayer, a wish, a hope for the possibility of things getting better. And I really, really love that. I love it. Okay, moving on. Page 30. Life is about cleaning up the crap. And while you're doing it, being okay with the fact that you have to do it. Yeah, life sucks. Life sucks sometimes, and we just have to clean up shit, and it smells bad. But life is hard and messy and full of shit. And it's never gonna change. We have to find ways to have fun dealing with all the shit. Who says we can't make shit fun? Yeah, make life fun. Life's never gonna not be shitty, but smile through the shit. Smile through the pain. Page 34. Who I am is not who I used to be, but who I am is all of who I used to be. Life, this is what I wrote. Life is cumulative. Everything that we experience shapes and molds us. But this doesn't mean that our past defines us. Our definition, who we are, is constantly changing with all that we experience. Okay, the next quote, page 38. Sorry, I'm trying to go fast, but I think I'm still getting the messages across. But last time this video ended up being 55 minutes long, and I really hope it's not that long this time. Okay, knowing and believing are not the same. When you know one thing and believe another, you experience conflict. And I know this to be very true, because I can know a lot of things. For example, I wrote here, I experience this a lot when I know a certain habit will be good for me, but I don't believe that it'll be worth it. Like, I know that exercising frequently and using my phone less, especially, in the morning or when I go to bed, those things would be beneficial, but I have not put in the time to establish them as a belief within me, right? I haven't done the action to get myself to believe it. You know how they say you have to see it to believe it? I think you have to experience it to believe it. You can't just know it. You can't just know that something is true. You have to experience that truth. So that's what we got to do. We got to experience these things. We have to believe. We have to let ourselves believe. Okay, let's see. Page 107. When we do not remember to celebrate our progress, the day-to-day revelations that led us to our feeling better. When we do not remember to celebrate our progress, the day-to-day revelations that led us to our feeling better, what we do remember is the pain. It's the pain that keeps us stuck in our patterns. The pain is familiar. And I wrote that there is comfort in familiarity, even if what is familiar is pain or sadness or worry. A lot of the time, it's easier to stay in a bad situation that's comfortable than it is to move on to something good yet difficult. We're lazy beings. We'd rather not, even if it's a bad situation that we're in, we'd rather not do the work to get out of it because it's easier to stay sometimes. But we ought to honor ourselves. We do not deserve to continue experiencing pain, worry, and sadness just because it's easy to do so. We know we deserve better, and we have to be willing to put in the hard work to get there, to believe it, to establish that belief within ourselves that we deserve better. Okay, I'm going to skip over this next section because I don't really want to talk about that right now. Page 117. When you can't translate what you are feeling, silence allows you to go deeper into yourself and find the peace that surpasses understanding. When you use silence to hide the truth, to avoid the truth, or to color the truth, it is the same as saying the truth doesn't matter. And I thought this was really, really beautiful passage about silence and how there's two sides to everything, even silence. Silence can be good. You can have contemplative moments in silence, and you can find beauty. You can find peace, like she said, that surpasses understanding. You don't have to understand something, but you can accept it in silence through just letting it be, instead of trying to, well, why did this? We don't need to always know why. We just have to survive. But on the other side of things, silence can be negative. Silence can be compliance. We can just be allowing things. Being a bystander is, no better than being the bully. And I'm sure we all learned that. Maybe not all of us, but it was something that was taught to me as a kid. Okay. Moving on. Where is our next quote? Page 124. When you are desperate to be loved, feel love, know love, you seek out what you think love should look like. When you find love, or what you think love is, you will lie, kill, and steal to keep it. Yeah, this book does go a lot into love and loving relationships and like partnerships, because the author Ayanna Vanson did not have very healthy relationships for most of her. Well, I wouldn't say most, but for some of her life, and it's fundamental in our beings that we want to experience love, and you know, when we don't feel like we are getting that love, we can become very desperate for it. And sometimes we'll blind ourselves to reality and just accept things that maybe aren't love. And that's really a disservice to ourselves. And we should not be doing that. We should not. Page 172. So, trigger warning, I'm going to talk about domestic abuse here. On page 172, the quote says, this is the author talking about a partner that she has that she had that was abusive. The quote says, he beat her because it was a Tuesday. And this is like part of a longer passage saying like he beat her because the moon was full. He beat her because he could. Like, because she said something to him. Like, it was just saying that there wasn't really a reason. He could make a reason out of anything. That, like, there really is no reason to hit your partner, right? But I thought this was interesting because it says he beat her because it was Tuesday. And, of course, astrology brain went off. She could have chosen any day, you know, but she chose Tuesday. She said he beat her because it was a Tuesday. Tuesday is Mars's day. It is ruled by the planet Mars, and Mars is the planet of war, of aggression, of hitting. And I just thought that was interesting. Okay, page 185. You cannot create a new way of being in one day. And I think this is something I'm struggling to accept. Like, I want to instantly change my life. I want to just immediately be where I want to be. And it's not something that we can do. Like, it does happen every single day. You can make incremental changes to your life, but you can't change every single thing that you hate about yourself in one day. It's not feasible. It's not doable. And we have to accept that and be okay with that. I guess this was also on page 185 because I didn't write it down, but I said how we deal with new challenges is a reflection of how well we have healed. And I thought that was really beautiful because it's true. Like, going back to that first quote, life is going to present us with things that used to work, but they aren't going to work. But how well we can adapt those new challenges shows us how much we have healed. And that, you know, experiencing those things and having those periods where those things did work healed parts of us, you know? We realized that we were able to maybe stand up for ourselves, or we were able to get something done, and that we can do it again, maybe not the same way, but, you know, by approaching it in a different way. Okay. Page 214. So this was so in the book, she talks about her younger self and then her current self. So right here, she's talking about her current self. She learned, and I think she was specifically talking about her relationship with her father and also grandfather, her familiar relationships. She says she learned that love is a bargain, when in fact love is a principle. What a bar. Like, love is not a bargain. It's not like I do this for you and you do this for me. Like, it's a principle. Like, we do things for each other because there is love, because we want each other to feel that certain way, right? It's not like you did this for me, so now I owe you this, right? That's not what it should be. It's not a bargain. It's a principle. The principle is love. Okay. I have here last paragraph on page 222. So let's try to find that. 222. The last paragraph. There always comes a time of elimination. The earth sheds each year. The trees and flowers let go of their identity. As the old identity dies, a new identity is born. The body sheds constantly. Some of it happens invisibly, so naturally and silently that we do not realize it is happening. The heart and the spirit also shed. They shed the emotions and experiences that we no longer need. They shed the things that stunt our growth. This too is an invisible process. Yet because of the energy involved, the emotional energy, we often feel the emotional and spiritual shedding. It feels as if we are dying. We are. Just like the flowers and the trees, we are dying to an old identity. This shedding, or death, is not the end of us. It is the beginning. Like, I just love that. I want to die. I want to die. I want the old me, the old version of me, the old sad, depressed, lonely, loser version of me who does nothing with his life to die. I want that bitch dead. I want to kill that motherfucker. Because I want to live. I want to live. I want to find joy every single day. I want to, explore. I want to learn. I want to understand. And sometimes I won't understand, and I want to be at peace with that. And I know life isn't going to be perfect or amazing, but it should be better, And I think one day, soon, it will be. Page 230. Oh, I love this part. Astrology ramble here, incoming. I once read that life takes place in 7-year cycles. Each 7 years, the focus and energy shifts in your life. So of course, the ding-ding-dings were going off in my head. I said, Saturn? Where are you, Saturn? Because we've all heard of the famous Saturn return, which happens around 28 years of life. And so that's when Saturn does a full journey through the zodiac. And so if you divide that by 4, we get 7. And the reason we're dividing by 4 is because in astrology, in the birth chart, in the sky, there's these 4 main focal points. There's the horizon, and so in the birth chart, there's the 1st house and the 7th house. There's me and there's you. And then on the other axis, there's the bottom, the underworld, and then there's the sky, the highest part of the sky and the lowest part of the world. And that's like the internal world versus the external world. And so these are our main focal points in life. And so Saturn, the slowest moving planet, the lord of time, like I'll read what I wrote here. But when Saturn hits those points every 7 years, we're changing gears. So let me just read what I have written here. Saturn is the lord of time, the edge of the universe, the container, the confines. Saturn, in a way opposite to the moon, represents cycles, the long-term cycles of life. Saturn is the slowest moving visible planet and takes about 28 years to complete a cycle. So as I previously mentioned, the angles are really important in astrology. They represent the 4 main focal points in life: the self, the other, the inner world, and the outer world. And so every 7 years, Saturn is hitting a new angle. And then the last thing she said, which I thought was really funny, was 29 to 35 are the hard years. And I feel like that's when, that's after your first Saturn return. And so that's when you have completed a full cycle. That chapter is over. So you have to start a new chapter, and starting over is hard. So yeah, those are the hard years. Probably as hard as, 0 to 7, but probably a lot harder because you're on your own at this time. Okay, moving on. Okay, page 244. It is through hearing and obeying the demand to make a life adjustment that the ability to face oneself grows. I'm going to read it again. It is through hearing and obeying the demand to make a life adjustment that the ability to face oneself grows. You have to face yourself. You have to be real with yourself, to accept that you need to make an adjustment to your life. And it's a demand. It's not just a request. It's a demand. And it's something you need to hear and obey. You need to follow that voice. Because that's how you can grow. That's how you can set yourself free. Okay, I have written here the last paragraph of 245. Page 245, let's find it. Page 245. Oh no, I don't want to read it. Moving on. Because I might bring it up in a later time. Because I have an idea for an essay that I haven't written any of my essays in a really long time. Maybe that's what I'll focus on in this time that I'm not going to be maybe making as many YouTube videos. Okay, page 250. God cannot help you unless you are very clear about what it is you want. Yeah, that's why it's really important to know what you want, and not just what you think you want, because sometimes we think we want something because we think it'll give us something else. But then when we get that thing, like say we pray and we hope and we wish for this thing and it finally comes, and then when it comes, it's like, well, this isn't actually what I wanted. It's like, well, God, the universe, the world, life, it can't really help you unless you're sure about what you want, unless you're very clear about it. So introspection is important, you guys. This is another quote from page 250. God will not help you if you don't believe that you are worthy of help. Yeah, I think that's something I need to accept or realize. Like, I don't feel worthy in life. And I'm here, by existing like it is. I am worthy. It's not, nothing decides that. It's just a fact. And so I have to reinforce that belief within me. Like, I maybe need to start doing more things that make me feel like I am worthy of this life experience and treatment of myself, maybe. Okay. Page 252. It was there that I learned about the mind that existed in Christ and how the mind exists in all of us. I learned about the power of the mind and its connection to God. And so this made me think about astrology, because why wouldn't it? And it made me think about the sun and the moon. So the sun, I would say, personally speaking, is spirit. It is the thing that provides everything on this planet with life. And it is the external spirit. Whereas I like to say that the moon represents the more personal, individual soul experience, because the soul is just a fragment of the sun's light, right? Even when the moon is fully illuminated, it's not reflecting as nearly as much light as the sun. Like the moon doesn't light up the darkness like the sun does, you know. And so, but that doesn't mean that the sun is like somehow superior to the moon. Like I don't like want to ascribe to that, because like I don't really like the use of like God and like Father God and like this male like figure as the supreme God, because I really don't believe that. Like we came from the womb, and so it is not, men are not, no offense man out there, but we are not the superior gender. The masculine is not the superior energy. Like I don't want it to come off like I'm saying that, but I just want to say like the sun is this external energy and the moon is this internal thing. And so I say the moon is our reflection of light, and our personal experience with it. And so I think I have a similar perception of the moon and the soul that she does to the mind here, the mind of Christ and the mind of God that like connects us to everything. Because I think the moon connects us to ourselves, but also to others, because everybody has a soul, right? And we're all connected to this source of spirit, of internal energy. So yeah, sun and the moon. Okay. Page 259. I had success etched into my soul, but I had been programmed for failure. And this, I feel like I relate to this a lot, because I know I have success etched into my soul. I know that I am going to one day, you know, be and do the things that I need to accomplish in this world. But I feel like I have this self-fulfilling prophecy and these cycles that restrict me, and I feel like I am programmed to fail. And I need to deprogram myself. Like, how do we do it? How do we do it? Okay. Oh, I wrote here, will I finish my book today? We'll see. And I think I did. No, I finished the next day. Okay, anyways. Page 267. When you hold yourself out in the public eye, people sometimes forget that you're still a human being. I really hope this never happens for me. And like, I hold myself out in the public eye. We all do, but I'm like purposely doing it. I'm trying to be seen by the public by doing this and other things, like, and some more things coming later. And I don't want people to forget that I'm a human being. We're all human beings. That's the thing. Like, even these famous celebrities that are just like way beyond us in terms of like access to things, they're all human beings at the core of it too. And I'm like scared to lose humanity. And I feel like sometimes the people losing humanity for like a celebrity or a public figure sort of has an effect on that public figure, where they start to lose that humanity themselves because they're not being treated like a human being. So they maybe start to not feel like one. And I really don't want that, but I do want to be a public figure. Or just in the public eye. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. You looking? Anyways, I'm crazy. Page 278. I'm going to find this quote because this is a good one. Page 278. Because I only wrote, for some reason, like half of the quote here. Okay. There are many types of jails. Some people are in the jails of their limited minds. Many people are in the jail of drinking alcohol, taking drugs, working on a job they hate, or living in bad relationships. We're all doing some kind of time. The only difference is that some of us have keys to our cells and others do not. Nobody but you can imprison your mind. Nobody can imprison your spirit. So good. You know, it makes me think of the 8 of Swords in the Rider-Waite-Smith. Oh gosh, I lost my page. Okay, it makes me think of the 8 of Swords in the Rider-Waite-Smith because the swords, I like to say, is the mind. It's air, it's thinking, it's intellect, it's ideas, you know, it's up here. In that image, we see this figure surrounded, blindfolded, like tied up, surrounded by swords. And I sort of associate the prison of the mind with that card. And we're the only people that can do that to ourselves. We're the only ones in control of our minds, right? Obviously, there are outside influences on our minds, but we have the keys to our minds. We allow our minds to do the things that it does. And so we are in control of how we feel. If we feel like we're imprisoned, it's because we're causing ourselves to feel that way. We're restricting ourselves for some unknown reason. Maybe it's not super conscious, but you are doing it to yourself. And you have the power to stop imprisoning yourself in your mind. So fucking stop. Stop doing that. It's fucking weird. Weirdo. Okay. And this is the last quote. This is what I want to end on. Page 313. Healing, growing, and learning never stop. It never stops. And that's good. We need to continue to grow, continue to heal, continue to learn. And as we do these things, we're going to get new injuries that we're going to need to heal. So it's like, it's a never-ending cycle, but that's the cycle of life. Life is all the things. It's the good, it's the bad, it's the ugly, it's the wonderful. And yeah, I think I did a much better job getting through this book here. I had a better energy. Like the other one, I was kind of sad. And I guess it kind of makes sense because it was like yesterday I cried. But that was yesterday. That's not today. I feel great today. I feel much better having made this video. So maybe I'm going to start making less videos, but more like what I was doing before when I started. Like I just made a video because I had read a book and I wanted to share my thoughts on the book. So maybe I'll read another book. I've started reading a book and I'm going to try again. So you may see less of me going forward, but you're just going to have to deal with it. I'm just kidding. Anyways, bye. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your life. Yes, your life. I love you. Bye.